Hey foodies, struggling to eat healthy with a busy schedule? What if I told you you can make tasty, Japanese-inspired, high-protein, low-calorie meal prep bowls? Today I'm sharing 6 meal prep bowls that are all about flavor and gains. Alright, let's kick things off by making some chicken curry bowl meal prep. Normal curry roux can be pretty high in fat, but this way you can enjoy curry in a much healthier way. Cut the chicken into your preferred size. Ideally, you'll want to finely dice the onion. If you are feeling lazy, bigger pieces are okay too. However, dicing them small now will help them cook faster later, saving your time. I'm adding some bell pepper for color, but you can totally skip this if you don't want to use it. Garlic though is a must-have. It makes the curry taste 10 times better. Put the cut chicken and minced garlic into a bowl. Before we start cooking, let's coat the chicken with curry powder. Add a little salt and pepper too. We'll be using more curry powder later, but getting it on the chicken now really helps the curry flavor develop. By the way, I'm using SMB curry powder. You can find this curry powder and other seasonings I use in my videos in the My Tools and Seasonings section in the description, so be sure to check it out. Next, add a little oil to a fry pan and cook the onion. You often see recipes that say to cook the onion until they are caramelized when making curry, but that takes way too long, so I never do that. Once they are softened like this, make some space in the pan and start cooking the chicken. Once the chicken has mostly changed color, mix it with the onions. Stir and cook briefly. Then turn off the heat for now. Now we are adding the canned tomatoes and seasonings. This is the same curry powder we sprinkled on the chicken earlier. Add sugar, miso, oyster sauce, and sake. Oops, I forgot the consomme and salt, so I'm adding them in later. I noticed the hard bit from the tomato stem in the canned tomatoes, so I took it out. The key is to add some kind of umami-rich ingredient, such as dashi and stock. In this case, the miso already has Japanese bonito dashi in it, and oyster sauce and consomme are also a type of dashi in a way. I think combining different kinds of dashi really boosts the flavor. Feel free to use any bouillon you have on hand. Cook it down, stirring constantly until most of the liquid has evaporated. Also, if you don't have miso or sake, you can just leave them out. You could add a little soy sauce instead, or use white wine in place of the sake. Here's where I added the salt and consomme that I forgot earlier. If you skip the miso, you might want to add a little more salt, but add it gradually while tasting. Once the sauce has reduced a bit, add the bell peppers. The curry is pretty much done cooking at this point, so we just need to cook the bell peppers. I like them to be cooked through, but still have a bit of crispness to them, not too soft. When I make this kind of curry, I sometimes add carrot, but I think this might be the first time I've added bell peppers. But surprisingly, they go really well with the curry. The slightly crunchy texture is a great balance with the chicken. Now just put this in a container with some rice and it's ready. If you freeze it, it should last for about half a month to a month. Next up, we are gonna make some chicken tempura bowl meal prep. When you think of chicken tempura in Japan, chicken breast is pretty standard, so that's what I'll be using too. First, I'm taking the skin off and cutting it into small pieces. Cutting it thinly like this helps make sure the inside stays juicy and the outside gets nice and crispy for delicious chicken tempura. Let's put this chicken in a bowl and marinate it. I'm adding grated ginger, garlic, soy sauce, and sake. Then giving it a good mix. By the way, when you think of tempura, it's often made with vegetables. With vegetable tempura, you usually don't marinate them, but when you are making meat tempura, this marinating step is essential. Next, we'll make the tempura batter. Some people use eggs, but I'm skipping them this time because it's easier. For extra crispy tempura, I recommend using potato starch and really cold water. It's so easy, just mix flour, potato starch, and cold water. The exact ingredients and measurement will be in the description box, so be sure to check that out. Mix it well, dip the marinated chicken into this batter, and then pan fry in a shallow amount of oil. You might be thinking, healthy tempura? But actually, chicken doesn't absorb oil very easily, so you can make it surprisingly healthy. Taking the skin off makes it even healthier, so this is the way I often enjoy chicken. Just be careful of oil splatters. Since the chicken is thinly sliced, about 2 minutes per side should do the trick. Cook both sides until they are nice and crispy and golden brown. Make sure to drain the oil well. Once the frying pan is clean, we'll make the sauce. Combine mirin, soy sauce, oyster sauce, and sugar in the pan. Mix well and bring it to a light simmer. You could totally dip the chicken tempura we just made into this sauce as you eat it. But today we are going to toss the chicken right into the sauce and coat it. This makes it easier to eat in a bowl, and the sauce really coats the chicken nicely, making it extra delicious. To get some vitamins and protein in at the same time, I'm packing some broccoli in the bowl too. Slice the chicken tempura coated in the sauce in the container, and then drizzle any remaining sauce from the frying pan over the top. Finally, add a hard-boiled egg and sprinkle with white sesame seeds, and it's done. Alright, next up, we are making some oyster mustard chicken bowl meal prep. Lately, I've been obsessed with whole grain mustard, and while I've been experimenting with different sauces that go well with it, I wanted to share one of my recent favorites with you all. Once you learn this sauce, you can enjoy it with so many different ingredients. Today we are using broccoli and chicken breast to make it a high-protein meal. And we've got some eggs coming up later too. Cut the broccoli and chicken into easy-to-eat sizes. Then lightly season the chicken. I'm keeping it simple this time with just sake and soy sauce. Letting the chicken soak in sake helps to keep even lean chicken breast moist, and it also makes it easier for the sauce to absorb later. Now let's make the sauce. First up is the whole grain mustard. Then add oyster sauce, mayonnaise, ketchup, soy sauce, and sugar, and mix it all together really well. This sauce is perfect for both meat and vegetable, so you've definitely gotta try making it once. It might even go well with salmon. You could fry the broccoli, but that uses oil, so I'm going to steam it in the microwave instead. It's also a great way to save time. We are also adding some fluffy eggs to this bowl, so let's get those ready. This time I added just a little bit of mirin to the eggs. The alcohol in the mirin evaporates during cooking, which gently slows down the coagulation of the egg protein, resulting in a fluffier and softer texture. It also has a moisturizing effect, so the eggs are less likely to dry out, even after some time. If you are planning to freeze this, I especially recommend using mirin. You can enjoy fluffy eggs even after thawing and reheating. Of course, if you don't have mirin, you can totally skip it, or you can season the eggs with salt and pepper instead. We'll be adding the eggs to the chicken later, so I'm turning off the heat and taking them out of the pan as soon as they are mostly cooked. Next, add a little oil to a fry pan and cook the chicken. Chicken breast can get tough easily, so it's best not to cook it over too high a heat. I sprinkle it lightly with salt and pepper too. Instead of cooking it for a long time, I'm just going to cook it for about 3 minutes until it's mostly changed color. And then let the residual heat finish cooking it. After a few minutes, once the chicken is cooked through from the residual heat, if you are worried, you can cut into it to check. Add the steamed broccoli and the eggs. And then pour in the sauce. Make sure the chicken is fully cooked at this point. Now turn on the heat. Once the sauce has coated everything, turn off the heat immediately. To keep the eggs fluffy, we want to do this part as quickly as possible, so mix everything together as fast as you can. I roughly broke up the eggs with chopsticks while mixing. Put it in a storage container with some rice. And your oyster mustard chicken bowl is done. You've got to try this addictive sauce. Alright, next up we are making a Japanese 4-color bowl meal prep. Today I wanted to make a high-protein rice bowl using ground chicken, but I didn't have quite enough chicken, so I decided to add some tofu. This much tofu had 10 grams of protein, which is great. It's super healthy and a great way to bulk up the meal. I'm placing a heavier plate on top to press out the excess water. We are also using an egg today. So just like in the previous recipe, I'm adding a little bit of mirin. You can use sugar or salt instead if you prefer. I had some leftover komatsuna in the fridge, so I'm going to chop that up and use it. Since we are making a 4-color bowl today, this green element is important. Usually I make a 3-color bowl, meat, egg, and a green vegetable, but today we are adding a 4th color, red. For the green, I usually use green beans, snap peas, or edamame, but I felt like switching it up today with komatsuna. Honestly, it turned out to be surprisingly good with the ground chicken sobo we are making later. Is the komatsuna easy to find outside of Japan? I really hope you can try it. If not, you can use any kind of green veggies you like instead, such as spinach, green beans, asparagus, and so on. Add some oil to a fry pan and put in the ground chicken. Before turning on the heat, let's add all the seasonings. Grated ginger, sake, soy sauce, mirin, oyster sauce, sugar, and shantan, or your favorite stock powder. Now that all the seasonings are in, add the tofu that we drained earlier. I squeeze it gently with my hands to get out as much water as possible before putting it in the pan. Turn on the heat and mix well, breaking up the tofu as you go. Even though we drain the tofu, it still has some moisture and the chicken will also release liquid. Cook it down slowly until all the liquid has evaporated. The tofu doesn't lose its fluffy texture even with longer cooking, and it mixes really well with the ground chicken, creating a nice balance. Once it's mixed in like this, you can barely tell it's tofu. My husband thought it was all meat. I tasted it and thought it needed a little more flavor, so I added a touch of soy sauce and sugar. Mix well and cook until you can't see any more liquid. Then take it out of the fry pan. I'm too lazy to wash the fry pan, so I'm just going to stir fry the komatsuna in it. I added just a tiny bit of sesame oil. Even a small amount of sesame oil adds such a wonderful sesame fragrance. It's the best. Because the aroma is so great, simple salt and pepper are enough seasoning. We'll be eating it with the chicken saburo anyway, so the flavor can be on the lighter side. I did clean the fry pan before cooking the eggs though. Add some oil and make scrambled eggs. In Japan, when you make scrambled eggs that are broken up into small pieces like this, we sometimes call it tamago saburo. Tamago saburo and chicken saburo absolutely have to be on the same rice bowl. They are best friends. Some people even make a two-color bowl without adding anything green. This rice bowl meal prep is surprisingly tasty even after freezing. So if you want to store it for longer, try freezing it. To make it lower in calories and higher in protein, I'm using more chicken saburo than rice. I'm going to arrange the 4 colors nicely. Egg, komatsuna, and for the final red color, it's imitation crab sticks. It's also a good source of protein. It's got a really nice color balance. Finally, I sprinkle some sesame seeds on the rice. This combination of the 4 items was seriously the best. Next up, we're gonna make some teriyaki chicken bowl meal prep. Okay, let's get started with the rice for a mixed rice dish. First, put the rice in a bowl and wash it really well. Rinse it about 3 times. You don't have to wash it until the water is completely clear, but get it somewhat clear. Then pop it in a strainer to drain while we get the chicken ready. For the teriyaki chicken, I recommend using chicken thighs. Usually, teriyaki chicken uses thigh with the skin on, but we are going to make it healthier today by removing the skin. I know some people are like, it's not good without crispy chicken skin, but trust me, I'll show you how to make it super delicious even without the skin. Of course, if you don't care about the calories, you can totally leave the skin on. Trim off any extra tendons or fatty bit. Don't cut it up small, just leave it whole for now. Now that we've prepped the thigh, let's take care of the chicken tender too. After you remove the tendon from the chicken tenders, cut it into really small pieces. Now let's season both types of chicken. First, the teriyaki chicken. Add sake, soy sauce, grated ginger, salt and pepper, and really rub it into the chicken. Some people just put salt and pepper on the chicken and then add the teriyaki sauce at the end, but honestly, this first seasoning is so important. Just marinating it with these seasonings before you cook it takes it to the next level. Okay, now let's season the chicken for the mixed rice. Add sake, soy sauce, and grated garlic, and mix it well. Here's the carrot for the mixed rice. Add whatever veggies you like. Root vegetable or onion are great. Mushrooms, like shiitake mushrooms, would be good too. I recommend cutting the veggies really small and thin. That way, they'll get tender quickly. Let's get a big pot ready for the mixed rice. The rice is drained now, so let's put it in the pot. Add water to the pot, and then the seasonings. You can use any kind of dashi, but today I'm using kombu dashi powder and this shantan stock powder. It's one of my favorites. I'm also going to add a little soy sauce. You can substitute the dashi or stock powder with something else. That's totally fine. Use your favorite bouillon or whatever you have on hand. I've found that mixing two kinds of dashi or stock powder makes the mixed rice taste even better, and I especially recommend the shantan stock powder that I'm using today. It's got extract from veggies and different kinds of meat, and it's really useful for making ramen too. You can check out the shantan stock powder and other seasonings I use by clicking the link to my tools and seasonings in the description box. Mix the seasonings well, and then add the carrots and chicken. Root vegetable like carrots take longer to cook, so I think it's good to put them on the bottom. Spread the carrots out evenly, and then spread the chicken out evenly too. Also, when you're making mixed rice, it's easy to mess up if you add too many ingredients. I think this amount of ingredient is good for every 150 grams of uncooked rice. Put the lid on and cook it over high heat. Wait for it to boil, and then turn the heat down to low. It takes about a minute and a half to boil in this pot. Once you see it bubbling, turn the heat to low and simmer for 15 to 20 minutes. When the water is completely gone and you smell a slightly burnt smell, turn off the heat. Okay, let's go back to the teriyaki chicken. While the rice was cooking, the chicken has marinated nicely. Right before we cook it, let's coat it in potato starch, but just a little bit. A small amount is enough. About half tablespoon for every 300 grams of chicken is a good amount. Lightly coat both sides with the amount. It's hard to coat it perfectly because the amount of potato starch is so small. So just try to make sure it's not concentrated in one spot. Just a little bit of potato starch sprinkled on the chicken will thicken the sauce very nicely when it's mixed with the sauce later. Pour a little bit of oil into a fry pan and cook the chicken. If you're cooking it with the skin on, make sure to put the skin side down first. Cook it over medium heat for about 4 minutes to get it nice and browned. If the heat is too high, it might burn too fast, so check it after about 2 minutes. When it's browned nicely like this, turn the heat down to low. Don't flip the chicken over yet. Then add sake. You can use white wine or water instead of sake. Put a lid on and steam it. I don't have a lid for this fry pan, so I'm using aluminum foil as a substitute. After steaming it over low heat for about 5 minutes, flip it over for the first time. Even though it doesn't have the skin on, it looks almost like it does. It's browned so nicely. I think it's because of the potato starch. If the sake is gone when you cook the other side, add a little more. Then steam it over low heat for about 4 minutes. After 4 minutes, turn off the heat. Take the chicken out of the pan. Now let's make the teriyaki sauce. Add mirin, soy sauce, sugar, and oyster sauce, and mix it together. Mix in the juices from the chicken that are left in the pan too. Adding oyster sauce as a secret ingredient really brings out the flavor and makes it taste like restaurant quality teriyaki chicken. Once it's mixed, turn on the heat and bring it to a light boil. When it's thickened up a little bit, put the chicken back in. Turn it over occasionally to coat it well with the sauce. By the way, if you're using chicken with the skin on, first cook the skin side down over medium heat for about 6 minutes to make it crispy. And then don't flip it over, put the lid on and steam it over low heat for about 7 minutes. After that, take the chicken out and follow the rest of the steps in this video. Perfect teriyaki chicken is done. Leave the mixed rice to sit for a little while after you turn off the heat without taking off the lid. Once the chicken is done, take off the lid and mix the rice. It's got a burnt, fragrant smell now, which is the best. That's the special thing about mixed rice that you don't get with fried rice. Plus, this is way healthier than fried rice because it doesn't have any oil. This is optional, but I'm going to add a little corn to make it even more amazing. By the way, I cooked the rice over low heat for about 18 minutes, but this time will change depending on the amount of rice and the type of pot you're using. So you should occasionally get close to the pot and check carefully to see if you smell a burnt smell. Be careful not to burn yourself. It's best not to open the lid all the way if possible. Plate the rice and add a shiso leaf for a pop of color. Put the teriyaki chicken on top and you are done. The last one is miso chicken bowl meal prep. First, we gotta chop the veggies. You definitely wanna include onion, but feel free to swap out the other veggies with whatever you like. I went with carrots and bell peppers. Keep the bell peppers separate since we are adding them later. Okay, trim the tendons off the tenders and then chop them into bite-sized pieces. We are making the sauce in a bit, but it's key to season the chicken first. It really levels up the flavor. Put the chicken in a bowl and add sake, soy sauce, salt and pepper, and a little sugar. Mix it well so the flavors soak in. I didn't add any this time, but you can also throw in some grated garlic or ginger if you want. Do this before you make the sauce so the chicken can marinate while you are working on that. Now let's make the sauce. In a bowl, mix together miso, sake, mirin, soy sauce, stock powder. I'm using this brand called shantan, doubanjan, and sugar. I'm adding doubanjan because I want it a little spicy. It's made from broad beans, chili peppers, salt, and rice malt. You could also use chili powder instead. Okay, the sauce is ready, so let's cook the ingredients. First, let's cook the chicken by itself. Heat a little oil in a pan and throw in the chicken. Here's a tip to keep the chicken juicy and not dry. Cook it over medium-low heat for about 1.5 minutes to brown the surface. Then turn the heat to low, cover it, and cook for about 2 minutes. We added sake when we seasoned the chicken, So the sake and the steaming will keep it nice and moist. The sake brings out the flavor and keeps it from getting dry. This is optional, but you can prepare potato starch dissolved in water if you want. Mix 1 teaspoon of potato starch with 2 teaspoons of water, double the amount of water. We'll use this later. After 2 minutes, take the chicken out of the pan. Chicken tenders have a lot of moisture, so there's gonna be some liquid in the pan. That's got tons of flavor, so we're gonna use it for the veggies. Add the onion and carrots to the pan and stir fry them. You shouldn't need to add more oil. Depending on your pan, it might stick a little, so add a little oil if you need to. Once the onions have soaked up all the chicken flavor and are nice and soft, add the bell peppers. We want them to be a little crunchy, so that's why we are adding them last. Put the chicken back in the pan and add the sauce. Stir fry everything together, coating it with the sauce. I'm calling this a miso sauce, but it's not super miso-y. It's more like a complex, flavorful blend of different seasonings. Even if you are not a big fan of miso, you're gonna be obsessed with this, so you gotta try it. Once the sauce has thickened a bit and the chicken has soaked up all the flavor, it's done. You can just put it in a container like this, but the sauce is kinda runny, so I'm gonna thicken it up a bit. You can add potato starch here, but this time I want to thicken the sauce only. Take the pan off the heat and mix the potato starch dissolved in water into the sauce. Less likely to clump up that way. Add the potato starch little by little, since the amount you need depends on how much sauce you have. Once it's mixed well, put the pan back on the heat and bring it to a boil over medium heat for about a minute. Keep stirring so it doesn't get lumpy. It's nice and thick now, so take it off the heat and let's spread it up. I cooked about 100 grams of rice for one serving. Now let's add all the chicken and veggies. That way you get your vitamins and plenty of protein. Drizzle the thickened sauce over the top. Garnish with green onion and sesame seeds, and you are done. I hope you guys give this meal prep recipe a try.